Well, I mean, yeah, look, I would say that in relation to Hamas, if you're an Israeli and you remember what happened on October the 7th because you lost people who died that day or were kidnapped or whatever it may be, the scale of what happened that day was on a different level to anything we've seen in a single day in the entire 75-year conflict between Israel and Palestine. And it displayed to me not just a terrorist view of indiscriminately killing anyone they could get their hands on, but a kind of nihilistic view, right? So I can understand actually why Israelis have a deep distrust of anyone related to running Hamas. I get that.
Yeah, no,
but I also think it's intellectually honest to say the scale of Israel's response has been massively disproportionate. The two things can be equally true.
I think that's right. And of course, who would think any Israeli would trust Hamas? But the other thing here, I was just reading earlier today, Haaretz had a piece about how essentially the Israeli government is very frustrated because there is no counter to Hamas that's rising, and there aren't as many protests as they think. There aren't as many rival gangs, and Hamas still has control of all this area. But Piers, I mean, just think about what the implication of that is. How many times have me and you been told over the last 2 years, by your guest right here in particular, that it is intolerable for Hamas to still be in power, and therefore we have to do whatever we can. And yet they've done all of this, killed tens of thousands of innocent people, destroyed the entire Gaza Strip, and Hamas is still in power. So even by their own logic, you failed on what the goal of this war was. And by the way, Piers, as you know, I've been sitting here, I'm sorry, it's a little frustrating. I've been sitting here for 2 years telling people, you're not going to destroy Hamas this way. And every one of them said, what do you know, comedian? You're not an expert. And yet here we are at the end of the 2 years, then all the people, I'm not the only one, we're all totally vindicated. Hamas is still, he didn't even achieve the goal.
Yeah, I mean, Doran Spielman, we were told, look, once the hostages are all released, this is over. That clearly, at the moment, is hanging in the balance. I mean, I think it's obvious it wouldn't take a lot for this to flare up again. But what is indisputable, as Dave says, there's no sign that Hamas has lost all its power. I mean, they're operating with power in Gaza right now. They're still heavily armed. They have said publicly, we are not going to disarm. So, it seems to me that the original aim of releasing the hostages is one thing, but this idea that Israel has defeated Hamas is clearly not true. So where does that leave this ceasefire other than in a very precarious place?